Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and all between the binary. This is Get Informed with G. I am with G Lion. Thank you so much for tuning in. We got a special one for you today. As you know, the world is currently on fire. If you are living in the north of North America, I am very sorry for you. The boundary waters are on fire. The forests are not too happy. Air quality at the moment here is the same as India, Bangladesh, or Pakistan. So if you do not need to be outside walking around in the air, do not. If you can turn your air purifiers on in the house, do so. If the air purifier is telling you to change your filter, do so. I recommend that you have an air purifier that is focused heavily on carbon purification, which focuses on gases, which is the main thing that you need to focus on. If you got money to spend on, you'd spend it on something called IQ Air. IQ Air is a Swiss brand that has been reliable for hospitals, labs, classrooms, and homes. They make some of the best air purifiers in on the planet. If you cannot buy a brand new one, you can find some used ones on Facebook Marketplace or other places that sell them used. And that's how I got mine because I didn't want to spend $1,000 on my air purifier. You just have to spend quite a good money on replacing the filters. Do not get a second-hand market in this type of weather for the replacement filters. The only reason for that is the filters that come from Switzerland for this brand in particular, they go down to particles down to 0.001, 0.005. For a regular secondary market, they go to zero point 0.1, zero point 0.5, which is a big difference in how small the particles can get. And at this time of year, when there's fires like that, I recommend that you be extra careful and get uh, the actual product, even though it's a little bit more expensive, it will be saving more of your health for now. Now, if it was a regular time of year and it's you're just worried about pollen, I don't mind getting secondary market. Just that for this particular situation, when you're dealing with smoke, a lot of smoke that is very toxic for you, then you want something that goes into even smaller particles in the secondary market. Appreciate you attending my TED Talk about your air purifiers. I am a nerd when it comes to that. We can get going, and the air purifier referral that I gave you guys is not a paid promotion. It's just an actual thing that I use in my house, and that's what I use for myself. Great info. Well, they do give you good air quality updates for IQ Air. Yes, you're good. Good to keep an eye on them. Let's give you the latest update and the latest news regarding Hormuz news you can use as a respect homage for Colbert. Who's giving me a call right now? I swear. No, I'm just trying to make sure I make put the phone on do not disturb and make sure that no one can call me. So now you do not get interrupted, especially when I want to start talking. I don't want my ideas to get interrupted. So let's get back to it. Hormuz news you can use, paying homage to our favorite comedian that is no longer on TV, Stephen Colbert. We miss you. Please come to my show, huh? If you know Stephen Colbert and you know how to get to him, tell him Wajih knows how to get the socks of the Pope. So if you want the socks of the Pope, come to Wajih podcast and he'll direct you exactly to how to get the same exact socks the Pope wears. Well, any of his other clothing wear, you know. But there's an official brand in Italy that does the same. The is it Italy or Rome? Roma and Roma. So, but regardless, you should come to my podcast. We love you. We care about you. I know you're taking your pina colada right now, enjoying your break, retirement. But you know, not too long, 1 hour, 2 hours, maybe not every once in a while. You would be an amazing guest on the podcast. Listen, if you don't want to do it, you have to get us at least Jon Stewart. You at least have to get us Jon Stewart. Anyways. Let me give you the latest update. Iran military warns all infrastructure in the region. Like I told you guys, how many times I have told you guys about this? So this is what Iran is warning about. Iran is like, we warn all the infrastructures in the region that they will be crushed under a steel blow if the United States carries out the threat of attacking Iranian civilian infrastructure. What have I been telling you? I've been shouting at you for months now that if Iran's infrastructure gets hit, they will start attacking their neighbors' infrastructure. Wajih, what are you talking about? The infrastructure is going to be fine. No, Habibi, they're not going to be fine. Just yesterday or the day before yesterday, we attacked the water desalination plant in Iran. What is what is to stop Iran now from attacking any water desalination plants in its neighboring countries, huh? You understand how much these Middle Eastern countries depend on the water desalination plant? Some of these countries depend on the water desalination plant, or most of these countries depend on these water desalination plant at least 90 to 99% of their water. 90 to 99% of their drinking water comes from water desalination plant. Wajih, what do you mean? What would happen? Well, Habibi, if you hit a water desalination plant in a country that is mostly dependent on drinking water from water desalination plant, then what's the point of staying in that country, huh? As soon, as soon, as soon you have a chance to run out, you will run away because you will not be able to stay in this country. You'll have to fight over water. You will import water from across the world. You can't import water from across the world. You need water desalination, and only water desalination happens when you have your desalination plant working. I'm telling you, people will leave the Middle East. They will have nowhere. Well, where do you want them to drink water? From where? Well, if we commit a war crime against Iran, how do you think Iran is going to retaliate? They're going to commit another war crime against their neighboring countries. Take a minute, my friend. Take a minute to understand. Make yourself a cup of tea with fresh mint. Sit down, make you some boiled eggs for this morning. Maybe create some hash browns. Sit down, make you some toast and jam. Relax, relax. There's a lot. This is just the first. This is the first news of the day. The U.S. military says it launched another wave of strikes on Iran, with Iranian media reporting that the explosions on Qasem Island, as well as Bandar Abbas and Shubha. We talked about that a little bit with Malcolm Nance's podcast. We said that the U.S. has attacked these areas. Here's what I have to repeat myself again. This is Trump's effort on going back to the escalation ladder as his habits of blackmail comes and takes control when he feels that he's no longer in control. Trump's best tactic is I blackmail you. I hit you. I violate your right by some way or another, hoping that you realize that I have control over the escalation ladder. But once you realize that you or I, the United States, do not own the escalation ladder, and in reality, every time I go to do my habit of blackmail, Iran proves once again they are the one really in control of that escalation ladder. And we go back to the game of chicken. Wajih, what is a game of chicken? A game of chicken is when you have two cars from both ends running full speed against each other. The one that swerves lose face. The one that keeps going forward is the winner. If no one swerves, you have a devastating effect where both of them crash against each other. So what you end up having is you have Iran that understands that if they swerve, they don't only lose face, they also lose power. Meanwhile, Trump, every time he loses face, it just affects some of his poll numbers. He has a bad weekend at the Mar-a-Lago, talks with his friends there and there here, and makes a phone call with Fox News and come back at the White House doing the same mess. So the consequences really are not the same right here. So if you think about it, why would Iran over and over and over again not swerve? Is because they have way more to lose by swerving than the United States or Donald Trump has from losing. So you have that again. Trump goes to his old habit of blackmail, and once he goes there, he finds himself in an escalation trap where he knows, or he hopes that he has the upper hand, but he knows that he will lose. The U.S. military also says it disabled an oil tanker attempting to sail toward the Iranian port of the Strait of Hormuz by firing a Hellfire missile. Meanwhile, Iran says it carried out retaliatory attacks on targeting U.S. Assets in Kuwait, Bahrain, and Jordan. I'm taking a notice that the attacks from Iran on Qatar have reduced a little bit. The Iran attacks on Saudi Arabia and UAE has reduced a little. I'm wondering the actual reasoning behind that. But I tried to spend a lot of time yesterday and the day before yesterday on Saudi analyst and Yemeni analyst spaces on Twitter, where I was listening to them anonymously, trying to figure out what they are thinking on the ground regarding the Saudi Iranian escalations. Well, the Saudi Houthi escalation, who is connected directly to the Iranian regime. Now, the Saudi Houthi war has been going on for years now. And for 4 years, we've had the ceasefire between the Houthis and the Saudis. The reason that the Saudi Emirati UAE relations is in bad situation is at the moment is because Saudi Arabia decided to attack an Emirati shipment, a military shipment in Yemen that was supposed to go to the Houthis. And the Saudis decided that that is a threat to their national security and attacked that shipment. The Marathi government has said that that shipment is designed for their own military in Yemen, which the Saudi government doubts that being true. The Yemenis are claiming, the Houthis are claiming that the Yemeni leader. Here's what you need to understand: there's a Sharia, the Sunni-backed government by the Saudi government in Yemen that is solely run in Riyadh. So you have Yemeni officials, right, from Yemen or from across the world who are Yemeni, living in Saudi five-star hotels, running what's so called as the Iranian government out of Saudi Arabia. The Saudi ambassador to Yemen lives in Saudi Arabia. The Yemeni president lives in Saudi Arabia. And the Yemeni ambassador to and the Yemeni foreign minister lives in Saudi Arabia. And so it's just a very interesting situation, right? So Al Houthis like looking at them like, what the fuck are you talking about? Y'all being run out of Saudi Arabia. And according to the Saudi government, the attack that happened on the Houthi airport while they're flying was made by the Yemeni government out of Saudi Arabia to exercise the Yemeni sovereignty. Now, you tell me if that makes any sense. Because to me, it doesn't. To the Saudis, it's like, oh, look, the solution is in Riyadh. To the Saudis, this is how it's supposed to be done. But when I'm looking at it, it doesn't make any sense to me. Now, if you want to ask your questions, you have two options. You can go to my channel's live chat. I mean, my channel's chat, and you'll find ask your questions here. Or you can ask your questions on here on this live stream. And then there's a setting that I can click on where I could later on find all of your questions and start answering them. The oil rises over 1% as Iran threatened to put the Red Sea route at risk. Wink, wink. Iran came out and said, we are ready to tell our soldiers and allies to start attacking the strait. What's going on here? Here you go. So, Iran has threatened to hit and shut down Bab al Mandab. Bab al Mandab is on the Red Sea. Here you go. Let's take a look. This is, you should know this by now. This is the Strait of Hormuz. You go all the way over there to the Red Sea. What's important about this Red Sea that it goes all the way to the Suez Canal and it goes all the way to Israel, right? And it goes all the way to the port of Jeddah and it goes all the way to the port of Yumba. Yumba. But down here is the Houthis. And this is the Strait of Bab al Mandab. If you notice, it is about half of the size or less than the Strait of Hormuz. Additionally, it is a more contested waterway than the Strait of Hormuz. Bab al Mandab is one of the most contested waterways in the planet. Oh, what else is important here? You have Somalia and you have the Somali pirates who are closely allied with the Houthis in Yemen. So when Iran comes out and says, okay, guys, I want you now to get ready for me, huh? You now start get ready. Set your engines. I need you to be ready to shut down Bab al Mandab when I tell you to. Houthis have shown that they are capable more than once of shutting down Bab al Mandab. The Somali pirates have shown more than once that they're willing to collaborate with the Houthis. So this is no question about what's going to happen next. And the oil market are responding accordingly. Everything is going by 1% up. Is that too much? That's not too much. I don't know why they're so hopeful, but the reason the prices apparently are so low is because China is not buying oil at the moment. Why is China not buying oil? Do not ask me. I do not know. Oh, I'm hungry. Now let's look at your questions about that, huh? Let's see if there's any more update. Any more update before I go to your question. Allah, ya Rabbi, salam alaik, ya Rabbi. Now, I don't know if you saw, but Vance has been coming out criticizing Netanyahu and his administration. What he's referring to, I don't know. Okay, let's see if I can play the videos for you.
Think that we would have started this war in Iran without the influence. Yeah. That we would have started this war in Iran without the influence of Israel. If it was your call, would you have done exactly the same thing? Do you think that Israel is affecting American political judgment?
There are some people within their system we know beyond a shadow of a doubt who are manipulating and trying to change American public opinion to keep the war going on indefinitely.
If it was your call, would you have done exactly the same thing?
I think that the goal is certainly good, which is to prevent Iran from getting a nuclear weapon. The president said publicly that JD was less enthusiastic about it. Like, yeah, was the exact phrase that he used. As the vice president, I'm not a public commentator. Like, my job is to give the best advice I can to the president of the United States.
Do you think that we would have started this war in Iran without the influence of Israel?
I think the president, completely separate from any influence from Israel, believes very strongly, and again, I agree with this, that Iran should not have a nuclear weapon. Um, I mean, I know beyond a shadow of a doubt that there have been people within the Israeli government who are trying to, like, actually shift us away from that policy because they want to continue the military campaign. We absolutely screwed up the comms of the Epstein files, but we just did it. Do I think the reason we screwed up the comms is because we were trying to hide something? No. We did release all these files. Did it take longer than it should have taken? Yes. He clearly had connections to the highest levels of Israeli intelligence.
Well, I'll leave the comments to you guys regarding that. That was JD Vance comments on Israel. Uh, he are you going to disagree with the vice president? You Antifas? All of you Antifas here. All of the American people now are Antifa. Everyone disagrees with the president is Antifa. You betrayers. You don't like your country. You don't like your country like Trump likes his country. Trump likes his country with his money. By taking money. You don't like your country. You like your country just by going to vote. You like your country by serving in the military. Trump is smart. He likes his country by stealing from it. Learn. Learn what's wrong with you? And anyone that wants to end anti-fascism is a terrorist. Only dictators exist in our nations. We only have kings here. We came from across the world to have the monarchy and the kingdom of Donald Trump. Yeah, Saudi Arabia named the whole Arabian Peninsula the Saudis after the Al Saud. You Trumps, this is going to be the kingdom of Trumpianism, the Trump kingdom, the المملكة الترامبية, المملكة الترامبية, the Trumpian kingdom, and y'all will be called the Trumps, the Trumpians. Yes, you'll be the Trumpians. You'll be the Trumpians. Otherwise, all the anti-fascists are terrorists. Welcome to the kingdom of Trumpia. Tomorrow, he is going to be your Baba Trump. Today, he's your president. Be careful. Be careful. Even J.D. Vance is worried about criticizing Trump. Is the Bab el Mandab more difficult to navigate than the Strait of Hormuz? Yes, it's smaller and more shallow. Wait, is he using the Epstein file to divert from US from Israel now? Can you believe it? JD Vance and the Trump cabinet has converted one of the most prestigious rooms in the White House, the Situation Room that was created to take care of Osama bin Laden, take care of Al Qaeda, and some of the most covert operations and clandestine operations that were run out of the White House. Now they have turned it into the Situation Room where how to handle the public communications and how to deal with the fallout of the Epstein files. They have disgraced some of the most important rooms in our White House into becoming rooms to discussing the. Never mind. You guys can make. You guys are smart enough to connect the dots. I am wondering about the desalination plants. How many have been destroyed? About how many have been affected? None have been destroyed so far, other than one in Iran. The Iranian government is warning that they would be willing to head these desalination plants in the Gulf states. Luckily, they haven't done so recently. But what they have done in recent months is they have done something really, really scary, in which they have hit the backup generators for the only civilian nuclear plant in the UAE. And hitting the backup generator is essentially hitting the generator that cools down the engines of the or shuts down the nuclear engine in case of an emergency. So what Iran is basically saying, well, not only we can hit your nuclear plants, but we can also target your backup generators with precision targeting, making sure that you do have nuclear radiation leaks into your country. What is doing? Don't ask me. This is your country, my friend. This is your country. I am only here as a green card. I love you, Donald Trump. We love you, White House. We love all the American people. Do not blame me for nothing. I am only here to give you guys political analysis. What is when you criticize your president as much as you want. To me, he is His Majesty the King, Donald Trump. Yeah. Well, you want to get me in trouble? No, Habibi. You get in trouble. Huh? You want to throw me under the bus? Why? His Majesty Baba Trump is the strongest person in the world. He's a strong man. You know what? You should know. You should look up a strong man. Strong man. MBS strong man. Putin strong man. Kim Jong Un strong man. Trump strong man. You have to learn what it is meaning to be strong, huh? You see, they say strong man MBS on the news media. They should say strong man President Donald Trump. They have to say it from now on every time. I bet you he would be so happy being called strong man. My classes begin in September, I think, or and my orientation is August, and then classes September, I think. Wish me the luck. Wish me the luck. See, you guys have questions here. Oh wow, you guys have plenty of questions and comments. New T-shirt, new shirt, Black Man Spy. I've been there. What do you think? The T-shirt for Black Man Spy is going to be there. I have hooked up Malcolm with my contacts with the company Bonfire to make his own T-shirts. He said he's gonna make his own, so stay tuned for the Black Man Spy T-shirt. That is his T-shirt. Why do you think the mainstream media isn't covering the details of the war, such as getting hit bad at these bases overseas? Here's what I think our mainstream media doesn't know how to do correctly. Our mainstream media don't know how to do the following. They don't know how to make it easy to understand with giving you full details. Rather, they simplify the information without giving you details. And the difference between that is when you simplify an issue so someone could understand it, well, you end up causing more confusion because you really haven't explained the details, that the nuances that make this issue what it is. Now, if media takes their time and explain the details, make sure that those details are easily understood by people, where they have full context of the issue with all the different sides, but took the time to make sure that the language is accessible. Stop using, scientific terms. Use terms that are understood by the mainstream people. Explain the nuances. Interview people. Show us people from these actual regions. They don't do that. They would rather simplify the problem, and I think that's the biggest problem. When you get a mathematical problem, and when you're in school, right, and you get a mathematical problem, mathematical equation that you have to solve is a very complicated equation. Do you simplify that equation, or do you have a complicated solution for a complicated equation? Usually, you have a complicated solution for a complicated equation. Well, anytime we simplify the problem, we bring even more simplified answers that complicate the problem even further. So no, you definitely need people to understand the complexity of the issue, but you want people to understand the issue as well. So I think people need our news media need to reassess that particular issue and how they deliver the news to the Americans. I think That is one issue. Are the Saudis middle west middle west? Are the Saudis really helping Trump? You have to understand how these countries operate. You mean, are they bribing Trump and his family? Yes, they're bribing Trump and his family. Are they buying favors here and there? Yes, they're buying favors here and there. The relationship is purely transactional. Like he's saying that this person is saying that they're confused. Some people say that they are supporting the Trump administration. Meanwhile, they're feeling that the Trump administration is not treating them fairly, or they're not getting worth their money. That's both can be two things can be true at the same time. Gulf states are quite pissed off with the Trump administration because they have such a transactional relationship. They thought all the money that they have been giving the Trump administration and their family members over the years would have bought them a little bit more protection or would have bought them a little bit more favor when Trump thinking about this war. And over again, they feel like they're being let down and let go from this Trump administration, which is speeding the process of them finding and diversifying their alliances. In the past, the Saudi Gulf states solely dependent on the United States as their source of security. Now they have a diversified view of security, where they view that the more alliances with different people, with different nations, with security alliances that are solely focused on fighting back the Iranians and solely focused on their national security is exactly what they need. So now they have been contacted with the Ukrainians. They're building further their security alliances with Italy, France, the UK, Germany, and well, the Saudis have already been signing contracts with the Pakistanis. You could see them going toward the Turks here in the future. Same with the Qataris, same with the Bahrainis. And as I said in the past, when these Gulf states they act like old money. They don't act like new money. So when they get pissed off with you, they don't slam the door on your face. They shut it down so slowly without you even noticing the door got shut down, shut off on you. So all of a sudden, you'll notice that the U.S. closest allies in the Middle East are no longer the United States closest allies in the Middle East. So keep your eyes open. Be careful with these next few years, because these Gulf states have already started stepping away from the United States and started looking elsewhere for their national security. Waji, how binding is the fatwa against the nuclear weapons? Seems the administration avoids mentioning that. Listen, the fatwa is as good as the current supreme leader wants to hold it. The current fatwa says that the Iranian government doesn't want to create a nuclear weapon and doesn't want to use one against humanity because it is such a bad weapon in their views to have. But many have said that that's just talks. The reality is the Iranians have shown that not only they are capable and willing and interested in getting nuclear weapons, it should the game theory shows that that's the only way that they believe that they can repel a nuclear weapon to happen on their homeland. So that's what's happening in terms of the nuclear weapons. Is there a fatwa currently that says don't use nuclear weapons? Yes. Could the Mushtaba Khamenei come out with a new fatwa, just repealing the previous fatwa? Yes. It doesn't take much. It's the word of the supreme leader. If the supreme leader sees that the nuclear weapon now is fit, then it is fit. Uh, who has the master plan and what is it? What do you mean master plan? Do you see someone has a master plan? No one has a master plan. Trump administration doesn't have a master plan. Gulf states are trying to survive this war. Iran has the control over the escalation ladder, and they just won't stop until they get what they want. So, does someone have a master plan? No one. No one has a master plan. Each person is just trying to survive this war at this point. Iran is trying to leave this war without losing face. Trump is trying to win this war without losing face or walk away from this war without losing face. Israel want this war until they have a decisive win. And so, if you would say who really has a lot of say in de-escalating, I'd say Israel needs to do a lot in de-escalating. Trump needs to do a lot work regarding his habits of blackmail, and we need to listen more to U.S. experts rather than just people who have the personal family interests of the Trump administration and his family. We keep buying stuff from companies that mostly owned or partly owned by the Trump family. Now that I already answered this question. Now that our supreme leader has screwed over the Gulf allies, who are they going to turn to? They're going to turn to everyone and anyone and everyone. The Chinese, the Russians, the Europeans, anyone and everyone they can get their hands on, they will get it. No questions asked. Now, if you like this type of content, I would really appreciate you if you take a second, destroy that heart button, share the live stream with people so they could join us, and do me one more favor. If you're not a paid subscriber, please become a paid subscriber. Help us pay the bills to keep the lights on. Help us pay the bills to get this show going, and help us pay the bills to do more investigations and more paper research papers. So if you like this type of answers, if you like this Q&A, if you like my articles, consider becoming a paid subscriber. I have one of the cheapest paid memberships on the platform, $5 a month or $30 a year. For VIPs is up to $1,000 a year. If you cannot afford becoming a paid member, no worries. I have posted a thread in my chat where I was asking who needs a paid membership on the house. I've texted every person that has said that they wanted one. And if I gave them one and came back to me and saying that they don't have access to it, I've been reaching on their behalf to Substack, the company itself, and fixing it myself with support. But if you are one of the people who are becoming paid subscribers, thank you for making this available for people who cannot afford it. And you are making my work also possible. That means a lot to me. That means a lot to the people who are listening. Someone was saying, why do I have a paywall? Because of my content is exclusive. My exclusive content doesn't have to be charged. It can be free if you cannot afford it, no questions asked, but it is exclusive content. It is content where people come and get educated. It is not content, that you can just find anywhere and everywhere. So yes, there's a reason there's a paywall, and there is a reason I have been giving away memberships and giving free trials I want people to have access to my content. But this content wouldn't be possible without the financial and direct support of a lot of you out there. How can you make a donation? I have a Venmo link on my profile on Substack. You can go directly there and make a donation. I appreciate you for asking. Anyways, let's get back into it. Reports that the Iran government voted 400-0 to pursue a nuclear weapon. They claimed overwhelming support from Iranian people that the only way to peace is by nuclear deterrence. I've said that. I told you guys. Iran now is more determined than ever to get a nuclear weapon, and you only have to learn basic game theory to understand why. Now, when they are going to pursue a nuclear weapon, they can't just make one. Anytime you make nuclear weapons, you have to do the following, because the only reason you achieve a nuclear weapon is to achieve a deterrence policy. What is a deterrence policy? Well, there is what is known as the mutual assured destruction, meaning if you hit me with a nuclear bomb, I hit everyone with a nuclear bomb. The world ends. That's the definition of a mutual assured destruction, simplified as possible. So when the Iranians do a nuclear test and they detonate the bomb and Israel all of a sudden feel threatened, if Iran doesn't say, oh, we have another 10, Israel will definitely hit Iran with a nuclear weapon. But if the Iranians come out and say, oh, yeah, we got 10 or we're about to test one, the Israelis are going to be on standby. They ain't going to do shit because they know that if they shoot a missile, several missiles will be shot at them. Now, Iran believes that if they achieve a nuclear capability, they will be respected like North Korea is being respected to some extent. They'll have the same respect that China has. They won't be messed with. That's the theory that they have, and that's the theory that they're going with. And when you attack them over and over again and you don't keep your word, and they have the know how and the capabilities of achieving a nuclear weapon, why do you think they wouldn't want to try to achieve that? Of course they're going to try to achieve that. I'm not advocating for it. I'm just a realistic person that's going to look around and be like, yeah, I think the next thing they will do is try to get a nuclear weapon. That's not what I'm advocating for. That's what I'm predicting. Someone's going to go and take that to the Kalshi market. Don't you do that. Do not bet on my predictions. I did get people telling me, oh, yeah, I've been betting on your predictions. Not on war, not on war, not on war. You wonder if the presidential speech tonight is gonna go as planned, especially escalating in Iran. God forbid something nuclear. Hopefully not. Rather than the leak voting of 2020 escalation. I think Trump speech is going to be another attempt to control public opinion in the U.S. I don't think I've heard any vote against the war yet. So severe financial damages has been done to the Gulf states by Israel's and incitements of Iran war. Previously, some progress has been made to ignite Israel and the region's economy, such as the Abrahamic Accord, Trump's Doomsday Gaza Peace Committee. Are the agreements now null and void? Does a relevant reserve excuse of money and talent being see? So you have to understand a few things. The Gulf states are very, very well struggling. Their projects are all on pause. Their financial investments on pause. They're starting to borrow money from the International Monetary Fund or the International Bank. They are um, they are being hurt by this war. That's why they are trying to bring this war to an end. But you could say a lot of those Trump projects are on hold and the war ends because these even the Trump projects and the investments into the US economy, how do you want them to have the capital to do these investments like promised on when you have cut that capital off of them? Like these promises were made during peacetime. These promises were made predicting that the constant flow of the Strait of Hormuz. Well, none of that is happening. So I wouldn't be surprised if they have force majeure on all of that. Do you think there's anything the U.S. Could do short of nuclear bombs? You know, too late, too little. Too late, too little, too slow, everything. Why shouldn't Iran have a nuclear weapon? That's not up for me to decide. But the answer to that is why should anyone have a nuclear weapon? No one should have a nuclear weapon. There should be an international policy that just ends all nuclear weapons. Period. No one should have the right to have a nuclear weapon. That's my opinion. Doesn't matter. Tactical nuke, hydrogen nuke, all nukes should be banned. All countries should ban it. You're literally gambling with everyone's lives on this earth, including the animals, including Mother Nature, including the future of living on it. We only have one Earth. So how like this thought of like gambling with everyone's lives, stupid, stupid. Anyways, I think those are the most. That's all the questions that I got for today. What would happen if the U.S. simply stopped and left the region? What would happen? Other powers will step in and take its place. Again, I say this, I say this, and I hope you guys don't get offended. No one is telling you get the fuck out of the region other than fact that you have your military. We don't mind you coming and investing. We don't mind you coming and helping improve the economy. The reality is you're not doing to do so. You have your own personal political gain that you're trying to reach every time. Like China is investing in these countries and they are building the Silk Road. You think if these countries have their own stability, you wouldn't be facing this refugee crisis? Stop causing in like stop causing all of these political instabilities and start creating economic and political stabilities. Create job market, create job opportunities. Let them be able to stay where they are so you can be left alone. We want you to just leave us alone from your military infrastructure. I don't know if you know, studies have shown that the rest of the world doesn't have a problem with the US culture or the US society. They have a problem with your government. As much as you have a problem with your own government in the United States, most of the US anti-sentiments aren't toward the American people. Is mostly directed against your government. So you should take a second, understand why you're getting so much US sentiment, understand that it's not directed toward you. Maybe you should be standing with these people that are like criticizing your government because they're criticizing the exact same things that you're criticizing about it. So slow down, understand that it's not a culture war. It's not someone else from another country that's trying to attack your own culture. It's class war. Everyone is tired of the actual wars that are happening in the Middle East. One's benefiting from from these wars that the U.S. is having. There's the warmongers, the war hogs, the war profiteers, the ones that have been making the all of these military infrastructures, and the 1% that are benefiting from creating these weapons. Wake up! Wake up! It's not about your culture war. People are tired of being stolen from. Again, as I always like to say, my friends and my listeners and my dear subscribers, and if you're not subscriber, how dare you? You don't like me and you don't love me. Ah, shame on you. I'm just joking. You may not fuck with politics, but politics will always fuck with you. Make sure you like, subscribe, and share. If you're watching this on YouTube, you're watching a recording. Make sure you join our community on Substack. We check in with each other on regular basis. We're trying to create this meetup in the Twin Cities. So if you are an event planner, reach out to me, say hi. Let me know that you're an event planner. Let's connect and let's make an event for everyone to join us. As always, مع السلامة, bye bye, بالإنجليزي, goodbye. I'll see you tomorrow.